My background is a mix of, on the one hand, research laboratory experience. I was involved in getting the GenBank project off the ground, which of course is, in the context of the Genome Project, a great international resource. And worked in the areas of genomics and bioinformatics as those fields actually got off the ground. And then about 10 years ago switched over to biotech and biotech startups in and around drug discovery. I've been involved in a couple of companies in the diagnostics space, startup companies, and then about 6 years ago switched over to the not-for-profit space and funding large-scale genomics projects through OGI. OGI's mission is to use world-class research to generate strategic resources for the genomics community, and in doing so to help Ontario develop a globally competitive life sciences sector. I think of the human genome, which is the domain of diagnostics, as being a two-dimensional matrix. First matrix is the genome itself, moving along the DNA sequence where all the genes and regulatory sequences are. The second dimension is human variation. So that first dimension is around 3 billion units long. The second dimension is around 7 billion units, the number of people on the planet. And that second unit is really where diagnostics comes into play, because it's the variation from one person to the next that has a tremendous impact on our genetic susceptibility to disease or predisposition to disease, and also a tremendous opportunity, which the focus of this workshop really looked at, to look at our predisposition to benefit from or suffer from medicines that we're being exposed to. Well, I think Canada and Ontario has a traditional strength in basic research. So in and around the discovery of biomarkers, I think there's some labs that have made some great progress. OGI has been involved in funding some really exciting projects that have either on a very large scale been scoping out human variation, or in very specific disease-related areas been looking for biomarkers that might be useful in a diagnostic sense. Ontario has several startups and maybe a small number of more established companies that are either pursuing development of specific diagnostic tests or platform technologies for generating diagnostics, or even just sort of tool-based, some of the technologies that are involved in discovery or development and application of diagnostics. In terms of particular challenges, I think investment in the commercial side of things and experience management are the key elements of getting those companies off the ground. That's not specific to diagnostics, but it's very much the case. I think there's a general challenge that certainly came out in the workshop, which is that when it comes to approval of reimbursement for tests, Canada actually turns into 13 or so markets, not one market, and that's a tremendous challenge for a company, especially a small company, trying to figure out when and where they're going to generate revenues for the products that they're developing. The particular issue that came up in the Myriad ruling, as I understand it, was in and around the notion of being able to get patent specifically on a naturally occurring DNA sequence. And that's, as an issue and a topic, has been around for some time, going back to the beginning of the Genome Project, Human Genome Sciences, and Insight, and some of the companies that filed literally hundreds of patents on wild type or naturally occurring genes. So I think, in a sense, that would have been denied is sort of a long time coming and not a surprise. When a particular sequence is being used, it's often its use that is the key to the patent protection, or the ability, freedom to operate, and to generate a unique revenue stream based on that. And I don't think that in and of itself was threatened by that ruling. We fund large-scale genomics projects, so we would play a very important role in the discovery of biomarkers that could end up being useful in a diagnostic or prognostic test somewhere down the road, or as a companion to a therapeutic as it goes through the clinic. I think our business development efforts in and around helping to catalyze conversion from the academic labs into the private sector, where products are really going to have more of an impact, and that research is going to have more of an impact on the population. And then finally, our outreach program is not only involved in getting the word out there about the impact of genomics on things like diagnostics, but maybe very importantly in trying to create opportunities for people to understand some of the issues arising. First up is very generic, which is it's a rapidly evolving space. What will require regulatory approval? The FDA in the US, for example, has been asserting itself in a broader way than it had a few years ago, especially in and around direct-to-consumer marketing of diagnostics. And so if that was considered a potential way to generate revenue without having to worry about regulatory hurdles, that seems to be less the case now. For any new company, not specific diagnostics, get experience management and make sure you've got enough resources to pursue what you're going after.